Watch this.
The thing that I kind of do like to get into, but I love drift.
Did you see it? Here, watch again in slow motion.
I love drift.
Watch one more time looking at me.
I'm very much in tune with formula.
Right there, that tiny little notification. Rider chose a new location. That's it. That's the entire notification a driver gets when passengers change the destination. That's all we see. Now, thankfully, I know this rider. I've given him a couple of different rides before, and he let me know ahead of time. But here's the interesting thing. He told me his fare changed from $27 to $40. Yet, I was only going to get paid $7 more. Neither of us could explain the math. And this is where things get interesting. Hi, my name is Levi Spires. This is the Tip You in the App Daily Drive podcast. Today's Daily Drive podcast is brought to you by the Gig You app. Now, as frustrating as it is when a passenger changes the ride like that, unbeknownst to the driver, and it's extremely frustrating, and it's even dangerous sometimes because you can't analyze the information, and Uber's keeping information from you. The real interesting thing is, why did the fare change so much, and why did I only get a small piece of it? Remember, what happened was he was charged $27 to go to one place, and then he added a new destination, so it went up to $40, and I was only paid $18, not even half of the fare. Where does all that extra money go? Well, of course, it goes to some taxes and it goes to fees. Uber's got to make some money too, so there's Uber's profits in there. But a big chunk of it goes to commercial auto insurance. In fact, with this particular ride, the commercial auto insurance was $10. And it was only a 10-mile trip. That's like $1 per mile for commercial auto insurance. That doesn't make any sense. But let me give you another example. Yesterday, I took a trip from Syracuse, New York, all the way to Utica, New York. It's about a 60-mile long trip. And it took me about an hour to do that. And the passenger paid $20 in commercial auto insurance. So a 50, 60-mile trip is $20 in commercial auto insurance, but a short trip across Syracuse is $1 per mile at $10 for commercial auto insurance. None of this makes any sense. In fact, right now, some new research is coming out from Professor Lynn Sherman over at Columbia University. He looked at some of my old videos that I made last year when I analyzed 100 some odd trips from Ithaca, New York to Syracuse, New York. They're all 60-mile trips. And I looked at about 100 trips, and the commercial auto insurance ranged from $15 to $50. There was no rhyme or reason. And the whole point of me looking at that one trip was, how can I make more money? That's why I like to analyze the data. But as you start to dive into the data, you realize there's just things that you can't explain. In fact, there is a commercial consumer watchdog report coming out right around the same time, or I think it just came out, where they're saying that there's a real problem with Uber's commercial auto insurance and the way they're using that money. I don't know anything about that, but here's what I do know. As a driver, Uber's pricing to the passengers and the fares to the driver, it lacks transparency and consistency. And that's what frustrates me the most. It's not the actual pay. I mean, I'd like to make more money, and I think Uber drivers should make more money. I mean, I accepted the ride, and my passenger accepted the fare, that what they were going to pay. So everybody was kind of aware what's going on, even though in that one situation, the passenger changed the destination, and I didn't have a choice. But for the most part, everything is up front. The passenger knows the price, and I know how much I'm going to get paid. But what frustrates me the most is the lack of consistency. It's hard for me to predict how much I'm going to make on a fare, it's hard for me to understand why it's calculated the way it is. I think a lot of drivers want transparency, and I understand that. I want transparency too. But what I would appreciate even more is consistency. So I don't need to know Uber's every secret on how they calculate a fare. But the fares and the pricing mechanisms can't be so random that when I turn the app on as a driver, who knows what I'm going to get? Now, obviously, Uber can't control demand. Who knows how many people are going to try to order rides at any given time? And I think Uber does a really good job of meeting that demand with a good supply of drivers. And they do that through a lot of different mechanisms. And I understand supply and demand in that form of pricing. But for the most part, I have no idea why a fare is paid what it is, why the commercial auto insurance is what it is. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And this isn't just an Uber problem or a Lyft problem or even a gig work problem. More and more pricing is algorithmic. We see it in transportation all the time. Airline prices, hotel prices are not set by some sort of set rate. We don't know what they're going to be. And I was thinking of this hypothetical. Imagine going into a restaurant. There's table 1 and table 2. Imagine the restaurant handing table 1 menu with one set of pricing and another table with a different set of pricing. That's the system that we're moving into with all of these different pricing things. And again, like I say, it's not really pricing in the sense of the actual dollar amount. I knew what I was going to get paid on the trips. And again, my passenger knew what he was paying for and the price that he was paying. It's about feeling powerless. That's why I use that trip as an example. In the beginning of this podcast, I was powerless to that change. I'm driving a passenger and somebody in the backseat decided I'm going to change where I'm going. And I have no control over now the new destination. In fact, I was telling my wife about this video and she was like, well, what if they want to go to a different city? And I'm like, I know. They just add a new stop to a different city and all I get's a little notification with a dollar amount. What does Uber expect me to do? Just drive to that other city? Or maybe Uber expects me to like have some sort of customer service problem where I kick the person out of the car. I'm not taking you there. And now it's a battle royale between me and this passenger. It's a loss of control. It's a loss of, I guess the best way to say it is feeling powerless. That's ultimately what it feels like. And increasingly, we as humans are feeling more and more powerless against these algorithms. So how do we solve this? What's my response? Well, I think having and using our agency is the best thing. If I get a bad meal at a restaurant, I'm never going back to it. In fact, I think about Uber Eats all the time. There are a couple of McDonald's restaurants I refuse to accept an order from to do Uber Eats and pick those orders up and take them to somebody because they're always behind. They're a big mess, a big problem. I'm not going to get paid what I thought I was going to get paid. It's going to take too long. I just don't use it. I use my agency. So I think about it from an Uber perspective. If you're a passenger or driver, if you're a passenger, slow down. If you need a ride, don't let Uber use your sense of urgency to get a ride to price you inappropriately. Shop around, look at Lyft, consider walking on the bus or calling a friend. Don't feel forced to use one app to get their benefits to get a price. There are other options, and there are going to be a lot more options soon with Waymo, Robotaxi, Zoox, a lot of other options. So do that. Drivers, same thing. Be patient. Don't feel the pressure to make money and be forced into taking what Uber or Lyft or DoorDash or what are these other apps want you to take. And I think we should use this agency across all of our lives. I'm going to take it out of Uber and Lyft and stuff like that for a second. Algorithms. I watch TikTok and Netflix and YouTube and all these things, and these social media platforms and these entertainment platforms use their algorithms to say, Levi, if you liked Top Gun, you should watch Top Gun 2 or whatever, right? So you recommended that. And I was having coffee with a friend the other day, and we were just talking about movies, and he was making recommendations. Hey, you should take a look at this movie. And it doesn't really matter what the movie is, but my point is like, that movie wasn't a recommendation for me. I had to physically talk to a real human and actually go and look for this movie and find it. It wasn't even on Netflix. It was on a different platform to watch the movie. That's agency. Our world is changing. And I talk about this all the time because it consumes my mind with the world of algorithms, AI agents controlling things. And as an Uber driver, I feel it more than most because my boss, to some extent, even though I'm not an employer of Uber, who dictates what rides I get is AI. Levi, here's a ride. Levi, here's a ride. And it's this AI thing presenting to me things. And if I like the price, I take it and I kind of go for it. But I guess I can't be disgruntled about it. That's what I'm ultimately saying to myself. I think a lot of Uber drivers want justice. I know I do. And I get really frustrated and I get really angry when passengers change the destination or Uber takes $10 on commercial insurance for a short little trip like that. And I want to get really mad. And maybe I might go to a social media platform and vent a little bit, like water cooler talk with my other drivers, like hanging out in the airport lot going, look at this. But we just can't let it control our emotions. We have to take action in our lives. We can't let Uber, DoorDash, Netflix, or whatever control our happiness and our sadness, these AI algorithms. What is delivered to us, what we assume looks random, but it's not random at all. It's these apps that know so much about us, presenting us stuff. And if Uber gives me a ride that I don't like and I don't want, decline and just move on with my life. It's about controlling my emotions and using my agency. That's my recommendation for everybody in this. And so, yeah, they're frustrating things. We just have to control it. Do you get frustrated by Uber? Let me know in the comments. Have you seen commercial auto insurance, these rates? Let me know in the comments what you think about all this. Hey, drivers, for 2026, let's get back to our roots. Why did we start driving? Yeah, we wanted some money. We want to make money, but we also want to enjoy the ride. It's fun to get out there in your city, meet people, and be an Uber driver. I know I do. I like that. And last year, I was really consumed with trying to beat the algorithm. And it really affected me negatively. So for 2026, I'm choosing positivity. I'm choosing agency. And yeah, I want you to make as much money as possible, but I want you to be safe, healthy, and happy. And I want you to enjoy the ride. My name is Levi Spires. This is the Daily Drive Podcast. Drivers, I want you to know that I am cheering for you. Be well. Bye.